Watch this.
Apparently, it takes a year to celebrate 250 years, which is why Idaho's getting going on putting its semi-quincentennial plans in place. We'll get more practice saying that word and learn what big ideas the committee has put out there. Speaking of historical events, who knows what would have become of the core of Discovery without Sacajawea? Idahoans know her significance to America's westward expansion, so much so students would set out to build a big statue using the smallest of coins. A teacher quit her job over a classroom poster her district said was too political. Now it's a new school year, in a new school, but with the same sign. Semi-quincentennial. Get ready to learn and hear that word a few times between now and next year. Apparently you need big fancy words to celebrate big fancy things, like the anniversary of the birth of the United States. July 4th, 2026. It'll mark the 250 years since the signing of the Declaration of Independence. But Idaho is already celebrating and planning on more celebrations. Lawmakers declared it back in 2024, writing, 2024 through 2027 as the period of commemoration for America 250 in Idaho. But the main events, that'll be happening next year. And what is essentially a professional party planning committee, they met today at the Idaho State House. So, Joe, the question is this anything like a legislative committee?
This is actually an official committee that was set up by legislation that lawmakers approved in 2024. So it's led by a handful of Idaho lawmakers, including others like the state treasurer, secretary of state, and their role was created by the legislature. And the fiscal note that got this put together, a concurrent resolution in 2024, says that they have an agency budget request for America 250 in Idaho. It's an amount of $1,650,000. So what can taxpayers expect to see with that? Well, today during a special legislative meeting of the 2025 America 250 in Idaho Advisory Council, we got a look ahead at the celebrations, education for Idaho students, and mascots. Yes, the mascots. We need to start with them because these are Spuddy Buddies assembled as ambassadors with full character. George Washington, Thomas Jeffer Spud, Betsy Tots, Spudjamin Franklin. These are all so Idaho. And guess what? State Treasurer Julie Ellsworth is personally responsible for these spuds.
I do make these potatoes. I do have the ability to sew because as a child I was in the basement for a lot of time learning how to sew. Developed a very distinct skill. These Spuddy Buddies are ambassadors and allow people all over the state to sign on to this Declaration of Independence that we're going to unfurl from the top of the Capitol building, and it's going to touch the floor, and the fire marshal is going to love us.
So they're going to have a giant Declaration of Independence that they want Idahoans from across the state to sign. By the way, Secretary of State Phil McGrain, he testified that these Spuddy Buddies, they are a big popular thing. He had a live report to the committee on his way back from Pocatello, Idaho, where he was meeting with all of the county clerks.
I did have Spud Revere with me, everyone taking photos and signing the Declaration of Independence. So those activities are well underway, and I know there's the Treasurer's Office with the interns have made a lot of progress there.
Business-wise, though, the Secretary of State shared an update. Local communities can now apply for grants to help their city or county celebrate America 250. So the program encourages them to issue resolutions commemorating America 250, and then they can get funding to support community events or installations. The total budget for this project statewide, $250,000. So each grant can be up to $2,500. And guess what? The most obvious community ever requested the first grant.
American Falls for the America 250 birthday boom in American Falls. And so we just got that application in. So we're going to begin the process of how we review these and approve these as they continue to roll in.
It's America, so American Falls, duh. Finally, Superintendent of Public Instruction, Debbie Critchfield, she shared that the state of Idaho public school students, they're set for some special curriculum. Teachers can get a special education box filled with America 250 content, a special theme for each month of the curriculum run, things like opportunity, civic duty, equality, patriotism, just to name a few of the topics.
We don't want this just to be a date in history and hey, we're just here to learn American values. We want them to find opportunities to live them. We're going to encourage our students who participate to serve. We want them to build connections with this event that really is about building informed citizens and strengthening our democracy for the next 250 years.
So there you have it, Brian. A little insight into what the committee is meeting on. They do have another meeting coming up, and of course, there's a lot of time between now and next July. But what do you think of those spuds?
Well, the spuds, I'll get to that in just a second. I was just, sorry, I was coming up with my list of other places that might want to apply for a grant. How about like Declo, Idaho, as in Declaration of Independence?
Is that
Declo, Idaho.
Is that really it?
There is a Declo, Idaho, yes.
Yeah, but is that really declaration?
No.
Okay,
I don't know. How about Firth, Idaho, as in Firth of July?
Firth of July? That's
yeah,
pretty good.
Independence Lakes, we have one of those as well. I'm just trying to come up with these other places that are kind of related to this semi-quincentennial that is coming up. And yeah, so they might be the next one. $1.6 million, though. Over 3 years, that's how this money is going to be dispersed, right? It's not all just for that 1 year celebration.
Correct. And this is something that there's also a possible injection from the federal government. President Trump and the Republicans in Congress have made it clear that they are going to send some funding, possibly towards the states. It's actually interesting. When we were in D.C., the Idaho Historical Society was also in D.C. working on possibly getting some federal funding to help pay for some things. These community grants, though, the $250,000 we talked about a minute ago, those are really to make sure that every community has a celebration of 250. I know that there is big celebrations in Idaho for a special Idaho anniversary, and when you talk to people involved with this, they want to have that same memorable experience, especially for the school kids.
Will there be a verification of signatures? I mean, how do we know Bugs Bunny's not going to be signing this Declaration of Independence?
I don't know. But when you think about, too, what the treasurer said with how big this declaration is going to be from the top of the Capitol all the way down.
Was that 167 feet? Something? I can't remember.
That's a lot. What, there's like 2 million Idahoans?
Yeah.
I think we can get everyone's there.
Close, yeah, close. Well, other than the little ones. But the question I have about the Spuddy Buddies, how many more can they come up with? How many have they come up with? How many more are possible?
Okay, I don't have the full roster in front of me, but we'll
it looked like at least a dozen.
Oh, yeah, they've got at least a dozen. And we're going to talk to the state treasurer about her creations, because, again, she does them by herself.
Wow. All right. That's a lot of hand sewing.
Very handy.
Like Betsy Ross.
Hey,
there we
Betsy
go.
Tots.
Good one. Write that one down. Thanks, Joe. All right, well, most Treasure Valley schools are back in session this week, except for, of course, CUNA, because CUNA. West Ada's Lewis and Clark Middle School began today without a certain 6th grade world civilizations teacher for the first time in like 5 years. Sarah Inama resigned from that position last spring after the school district demanded she take down her "Everyone is Welcome Here" poster that she had in her classroom for 4 years. Those in charge told her it needed to go because, quote, not everyone believes that. And they mentioned specifically it was because of the various skin tones on the poster. Well, Sarah and her poster quickly found a new home in a new classroom at East Junior High in the Boise School District. She posted this video yesterday of her putting her world-famous poster up to begin the school year. And she chose an appropriate song by Rage Against the Machine as the soundtrack. There you go. So West Ada made it their policy, district policy, to ban posters like Sarah's in the classroom before the state legislature passed a new law to outlaw anything that promotes political, religious, or ideological viewpoints on school property. And Idaho's Attorney General, Raul Labrador, said specifically in his legal opinion of the law, Sarah's poster would violate that law, calling it political and ideological. However, last month, while acknowledging the guidance by the State Board of Education saying the sign would not be allowed, the Boise School District announced, quote, we will continue to support our teachers who choose to display that sign in their classrooms. There you go. Okay, so here's a segment we haven't done in a while. What's your sign? But several of you in the Magic Valley may have seen this a sign, I guess, over the past several days. And I hesitate to call it a sign because it's more of a signal, as in a directional arrow. This picture was posted on social media a couple days ago. Saw this leaving from Southeast exit on the Twin Falls Walmart parking lot this morning. And at first glance, you may be wondering, okay, so what's the problem? A parking lot exit, you got a lane to go right, a lane to go left, except you can't go left, thanks to the curb median and the sign that says, no left turn. That's a huge whoops by whomever painted the road, said the Facebook post, which caused a couple of comments like, challenge accepted next time in town. They're going to try to turn left there. And what to believe? A giant arrow on the pavement or a tiny sign across the street? Well, the city would like you to believe the tiny sign across the street and also the bright yellow curb, and it also contains those tall reflectors to keep you from turning left. So here's what happened. Walmart had the parking lot restriped 3 days ago. And apparently the crew thought the same thing I did. Who puts 2 turn lanes going the same direction out of a parking lot? But as of this morning, crisis averted and crashes avoided. They repainted the exit lanes with the proper directional arrows, although you can see that mistake is going to be visible for a while, as you can see. But the question remains, why not just make it 1 exit lane instead of 2? Why do you need 2 right turn lanes out of a parking lot? And then it hit me. It's Idaho. Going right is always encouraged. Going left, not so much. (1805) saw the Corps of Discovery first step into what would become eventually Idaho. We talked about this yesterday with just a brief mention of who helped the expedition find a route to the Pacific. Meriwether Lewis and William Clark first met Sacajawea in North Dakota when she was 17. She was also pregnant and the wife of one of the fur traders Lewis and Clark hired to be an interpreter. Well, when they made it into Idaho, which happened to be her homeland, she was born near Salmon, it was Sacajawea who helped them secure horses from her Shoshone tribe to help make it the rest of the way. In many other ways, she would prove to be indispensable to the success of that exploration. Her legacy had such an impact, yet her role wasn't really celebrated like it should have been for many, many years. But a group of Idaho school kids were hoping to change that back in 1998, and they made it their mission, their journey, if you will, to raise enough money to build her an overdue statue. That's today's 208 Dial.
11-year-old Marissa Miller wants to turn this stack of rolled bronze pennies into something else, a larger version of this bronze statue. She's gathering the pennies to fund a monument to Sacajawea, the young Shoshone Indian woman that traveled with Lewis and Clark.
Without her, they wouldn't have survived on the expedition.
Marissa heard about the project spearheaded by State Treasurer Lydia Justice Edwards and offered to help. So they scheduled this assembly at Pioneer Elementary last May. And since the assembly, students at Pioneer have raised over 40,000 pennies, equaling over $400. But that's just a small step towards the goal of $25,000.
When we raise the money, we want to establish a heroic size monument, which could be as much as 8 feet tall.
When it's finished, the statue will be placed near Salmon, Idaho, where Sacajawea was born in 1790.
She was a young woman of about the age of Marissa.
At 14, Sacajawea traveled through the Bitterroot Mountains with Lewis and Clark. Her presence protected the party from Native Americans that otherwise might have considered the strange white men a threat to their safety.
She got roots, berries, she got horses, and she interpreted with the Indians. So that's really important.
The point is, it's a vehicle to excite young people about history in Idaho.
Edwards is putting together an educational packet on Idaho history to distribute to teachers. In the meantime, she and Marissa will continue to raise money and recruit student helpers. Completion date for the monument is sometime before the Lewis and Clark bicentennial in the year 2003. Jake Putnam, Idaho at 5.
Used to be Idaho 5, now we're the 208. Well, if you've been in Salmon, Idaho anytime soon, or I should say in the last 20 years, you know those kids, they achieved their goal. Artist named Agnes Vincent Talbot created the statue, and there it is, presented to the Sacajawea Interpretive Center back in 2005. It stands on a 71-acre park dedicated to her entire life. You want to see it? Well, the center is located about 2 miles east of downtown Salmon.
All right, our round of intense heat continues today. We are seeing some triple-digit readings tonight in Ontario and Mountain Home at 101, knocking on the door of the century mark in Caldwell and Nampa. Boise at 97. We've climbed into the 90s in the Magic Valley. Even in the mountains, we're seeing highs up around 90 for McCall and Haley. So heat, definitely one of our big weather headlines. The other headline up in Valley County is smoke and wildfires. This is a live look from the Tamarack Resort Summit Cam. This is that rock fire that was sparked last night around 10:45 from a fast-moving, isolated thunderstorm. It sparked a handful of fires. The rock fire has now become the biggest. Look at the smoke out there obscuring our view of Cascade Lake. So now, as we talk about air qualities, actually, according to the Idaho DEQ, everything is showing green or good across the region, including up around Cascade and McCall. But of course, the closer you get to that fire, the more quickly air quality will deteriorate. But so far, things are looking good. It is a little bit breezy out there in some spots, especially east of Boise, but wind speed and direction right now cooperating as far as air quality goes. But of course, any wind at all can contribute to very fast and erratic fire behavior. So not great news on the fire front there. I do expect those breezy winds to continue into tomorrow as we have a weak cold front that is on the move today. Monsoon moisture creeping up from the south is triggering some isolated storm activity right along the Idaho-Nevada border as anticipated. Couple showers firing off over the Owyhees. I'm not seeing any lightning there yet, but those could turn into a thunderstorm here in the next little bit. Just enough instability from our daytime heating and that monsoon moisture to keep those storm chances in play again tomorrow and potentially into Friday. Again, mostly south of the Magic Valley. Not a huge impact on our viewing area, but still something to be mindful of if you plan to travel south from the Twin Falls area over the next couple of afternoons. So ridge of high pressure easing off to the east. That's allowing slightly cooler air to trickle in from the north, so not quite as hot starting tomorrow. Then over the weekend, we're watching a stronger system that will drop in, and that will bring us an even more comfortable shot of air, dropping us into the upper 80s as we kick off the weekend. But tonight, the rest of your evening, very hot. We'll be up around 100 degrees in Boise through about 7 o'clock, finally sliding into the 80s at 10. So any after dinner activities, be ready for that hot pavement on the feet or the dog's paws, and make sure you, of course, have lots of water to stay hydrated. Tomorrow, abundant sunshine as we look at our timeline. Those highs, though, land in the low 90s instead of upper 90s to triple digits. So already something a little more comfortable coming our way tomorrow. We'll wake up to temperatures in the mid 60s. Boise didn't even drop below 70 this morning, so a little more comfortable tomorrow. Highs will land at 92 in Boise, 95 for Mountain Home tomorrow, right at 90 with sunshine and breezy winds in the Magic Valley. Mountains, a little bit of relief, low 80s for McCall and Stanley. Looking ahead at our 7-day forecast, while there is a chance of some showers and maybe a spot thunderstorm or two on Sunday across the higher elevations, it's all sunshine all the time for the Boise area. Those temps upper 80s by Saturday. Then we start a slow rebound back into the 90s starting early next week.
As more and more people need help making ends meet in the Treasure Valley, the Meridian Food Bank is expanding to try to meet that need. And people in Boise are going to dive into the fight against cancer this weekend. Here's Abby Wilt with the 411.
An Idaho firefighter who was struck by a tree last year while working on the coffee can saddle fire is still on the long road to recovery. Shaw suffered a traumatic brain injury and is currently using a wheelchair. He has been recovering at a facility in Omaha, Nebraska. His family's working on modifying their 3-story house in Boise to be ADA accessible. The family has set up a GoFundMe for Shaw's recovery and renovation costs, which is available on our website.
Congratulations. All right, thank you.
The Meridian Food Bank has broke ground on a new expansion. The extra space will allow the food bank to feed more students in the West Ada School District. The food bank's executive director says the need started growing years ago. Volunteers now pack more than 900 backpacks with food for students every week, more than double what they packed a decade ago. During construction, the food bank will continue backpack operations in another area of their facility, ensuring students who depend on the program will not go hungry. The Boise community is coming together to fight cancer by swimming across America this Saturday. The event is at the Idaho Central Aquatic Center in Boise. If you want to participate, you can donate $50 to Swim for a Good Cause, or you can volunteer. Swimmers must raise a minimum of $250 for individual entries and $1,000 for team entries. All proceeds will benefit St. Luke's Cancer Institute. The Man Up Crusade will take over the Caldwell Night Rodeo grounds tonight. It's an effort to raise awareness about domestic violence. The Man Up Crusade says 1 in 4 women and 1 in 7 men will be victims of domestic violence in their lifetime. The nonprofit hopes to lower those numbers by bringing the public awareness campaign to fairs and rodeos here in the Treasure Valley and across the country. If you're going to the rodeo tonight, wear purple for domestic violence awareness. Crusade volunteers will have a booth at the south end of the arena if you want to visit and learn more. That's the 411. I'm Abby Wilt.
All right, wrapping up this Wednesday with your comments like this one from Lori. Seriously, lessons on equality for the 250th anniversary celebration? That sounds a little woke for Idaho. It's equality, not equity. So I guess maybe that's the distinction there. Hey, Brian, let's give a great big shout out to the Boise School District and hooray for Sarah. And just a great big, well, it's about time for somebody to understand the sentiment of the sign, everyone is welcome here. Good job. That one is from Michelle. And will you be reporting on the first accident that happened when those two cars are both turning right out of Walmart in Twin Falls? Asked Phyllis and Boise. Well, we asked them today, and it's been that way for 3 days until they changed it this morning, and they had no accidents. And nobody even complained about it. So they've been dealing with it off and on over the last couple of years since that meeting was put in 2015. It was just kind of funny to us. The two right turn arrows in Twin Falls story was probably just a boo-boo and not political. Kindness is not taking a boo-boo story and making it into an anti-Idaho political comment. I'm a native Idahoan and I love my state. Please stop making it all about politics, says Deborah. Well, I mean, I guess the question is it a joke or is it political? The point of the 208 is kind of have some fun with some stuff once in a while when we see it. Because we know you see it, so why can't we just go along with it? It's a joke. That's all it is. Try to have some fun. We'll see you back here tomorrow.
Continue with us and watch free now on the KTVB Plus app everywhere you stream.